For me, Black history, Black literature, Black culture has always been the constant in my life. When I was in elementary school, I had a teacher, Ms. Lisa Barnett. And Ms. Lisa Barnett was probably the most Afrocentric person I knew as an 11-year-old. And so in Ms. Lisa Barnett's class, we celebrated Kwanzaa. We read Langston Hughes and Nikki Giovanni. And we celebrated and we loved ourselves as Black people. And so that love of Black history, literature, and culture was nurtured in Ms. Lisa Barnett's class. When I got to high school in the city of Chicago, I was fortunate to be able to take a topics in Black studies class. And in that topics in Black studies class, that exposed me to the history of the civil rights movement. And for that class, I wrote a paper on the Greensboro Four, the four young men who sat at the Greensboro lunch counter and who sparked the entire sit-in movement. And I wrote a paper for my 11th grade English class on the Greensboro Four. But when I went to college, I did not originally major in history. I actually majored in anthropology. And so as a result of that, I studied abroad in Kenya. I learned more about the connections between African Americans and the African diaspora in West Africa. And around that same time I was coming to that realization, I took 2 history classes by the late, great Dr. Leslie Brown. And she taught an oral history methods class, and then also my first class on the topic of Black women's history. After those 2 classes with Dr. Brown, I was sold. But what I decided to do was I decided to pursue a PhD in history. And my PhD in history focused, of course, on African American history and specifically Black women's history.